Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So the Washington Commanders just made a great pick selecting Ole Miss cornerback Trey Amos at 61. They add to the defense finally and solidify this secondary. Let's talk about it in today's video. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well. Comment down below how you feel about this pick, and again, trying to hit 16k subscribers. Said before the draft ends, but probably not going to happen, so let's just get it done, relatively soon. But Trey Amos, a really solid pick by the Washington Commanders. Very good value at a position of need. This is the best of both worlds. You get a guy that was supposed to be, late first, maybe, but most likely early second. And we got to the end of second round, and he is still there, or he was still there. They got to the end of the second and took Trey Amos, outside, most likely cornerback, and just really good value. Really good value, in my opinion. So played at Louisiana for a few years, then Alabama, then Ole Miss. So a bunch of different spots. Didn't really play much in 2020. Then you can see the games in 2021, 2022. At Alabama, 14 games, 1 start, 12 tackles, and 5 PBUs. I'm assuming he transferred because of Saban being gone. And then 2024, first team All-SEC, 13 PBUs, had 3 interceptions, started all 13 games, 50 tackles, 3.5 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. Transferred Ole Miss to play for Pete Golding, who recruited Amos to Alabama before heading to Ole Miss for the 2023 season. So it makes sense there. Again, like I said, a very, very good pick in my opinion for the Washington Commanders. A guy that can play outside for you. This gives you a lot of different possibilities. You can play Amos on the outside, Lattimore on the outside, Sanders still in the slot. You also have Jonathan Jones in there as well. Your depth is amazing at cornerback. It is amazing. You got 4 guys that can start. You don't have to rush Trey Amos into anything. It would be good if he can start. You also don't have to play Sanders still in the slot, but more likely than not, if you don't play Sanders still in the slot, then that means Lattimore is on the bench. So I think their ideal scenario is Lattimore, Amos, and then Sanders still in the slot. And hopefully it doesn't happen, knock on wood. But if one of those guys gets hurt, let's say it's Lattimore because he does have a little bit of an injury history. If he does get hurt, then you can move Sanders still back inside and Jonathan Jones to the outside, or you can move Jonathan Jones just into the slot, and Mike Sanders still, keep him on the outside. But I guess if Lattimore is hurt, then you have to replace an outside guy. But you would be able to move things around a little bit, and depends on the situation, because Jonathan Jones can play in the inside and outside, and same thing with Sanders still. So if Sanders still is playing fine on the outside, then you might want to just keep him there and then just move Jonathan Jones inside. But that's kind of how the defense is looking right now. So a lot of people are complaining, and I wasn't necessarily complaining, but I was like, they do need to take defense, and that's what they did. Adam Peters let the board fall to him. Mike Green, it would have been good to take him, but he wasn't available. He got taken to the Ravens a couple spots before us, but the Commanders instead take Trey Amos, which I think is very good value. He was one of the players. I didn't watch a lot of film on him. I think I watched a little bit, and then I watched some highlights. But overview, long press cornerback who proved he could make the jump from the Sun Belt to the SEC without a hitch. He can disrupt the release and plays with good short area movement in man coverage. He can get a little lost on the top of the route and needs occasional safety nets over the top. He has twitchy feet to close and seize the action clearly from zone, but can be hampered by indecisiveness despite favorable instincts, which is really important. Uses physicality and length or strength of 50-50 odds in his favor. He can play multiple coverage, but is most consistent in zone. He needs to ramp up his run support and trust his eyes in space, but has the goods to become a solid starting outside corner. And just looking at the information on him, 6'1", 195 pounds. In a bit, I'll pull up the Trey Amos RAS score, because that would be a good graphic to have. Doesn't look super, in terms of athleticism, it's not great. 17th in terms of combine score, but he does have solid height, which might help him. 40-yard dash time is pretty good though. 4.43 40-yard dash time. The vertical jump's a little bit low for a cornerback. The bench press is not bad for a cornerback. Let's see. We'll go ahead and look up. We'll look up RAS score here for Trey Amos, which basically just measures the athleticism. So he actually has a very good athleticism score, and that has to do with, a lot of it has to do with his height there, which, plays a factor into it for sure. And I'm assuming the hand size and arm length is pretty good, which helps it because, his vertical jump, like I said, wasn't great. But the 40-yard dash time's very good, 20 split, 10-yard split. The shuttle wasn't great, shuttle, but overall good athleticism numbers, and that's what Adam Peters values, is athleticism. You see it with like a bunch of the picks they made last year and yesterday. Josh Connerly is a very athletic guy, and in terms of RAS score is very high. So he has a lot of good measurables, and same thing with Trey Amos. So he's from LA and senior, so he's a little bit older. And like I said, good value for the Washington Commanders. Some of the strengths and weaknesses you can read here. From what I watched, it looked like he had really, really good instincts. I mean, he was making breaks on the ball really, really quickly. He was able to see and sense that based off film probably, that the quarterback was going to throw it, and had a lot of pass breakups based off of that. So I think, that's really good to see. Ball skills are pretty good, and, he has good traits. I would say the biggest thing with him that I saw, because it was highlights for the most part, was tackling wasn't great. Like even in the clips that he was making the tackle, he would need help, and sometimes it would be a little bit of a miss. So that's what I would say with Trey Amos is one of the biggest concerns, is the tackling. So hopefully that is something that he can work on at the next level. But overall, I give this pick an A. I think it's a position of need. Yeah, they still need edge rusher, but I think the value is really good here. And there wasn't, any great edge rushers available that the Commanders could have gotten, because Ezeraku, Mike Green was gone, Nick Scorton was gone, JT was gone. So maybe they find someone a little bit later, but at this point, like, you just don't find a lot of good edge rushers in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. So I wouldn't mind if they just focused on drafting a running back and just focus on edge rusher next year, or maybe focused on the trade market for an edge rusher. There's some guys like Tyree Wilson available. Maybe Kayvon Thibodeau becomes available, but I doubt they trade him in the vision. And maybe focus more on the running back position, which, I think they should go. That's one of the positions they should target tomorrow. I think 4th round, go for Bashal Tutin. That's my guy. Maybe Dylan Sampson's available. Maybe Devin Neal's available. But those are the guys I would go after. So this might be the Commanders' last pick today. It's scheduled to be their last pick unless they make a move. So just, this probably will be their last pick, but, watch out. I'll obviously make a video if anything changes. There's the Caps that are playing. You got playoff basketball too, so I'm sure you guys are watching that, but appreciate the people that are tuning in right now. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.